this lesson you will learn what is Unity Prefab, create a game manager to control the ball spawn, and write your own method. I hope you successfully completed previous assignment. In case there were any difficulties, let's briefly go over it. First task was to print to the console line of text when down key was pressed. And if no button is pressed, print to the console another line. Head over to the update method and add an else if statement. And we do similar thing to what we already done for the up key. Input.getKey. This time we're using player down and we print down button is pressed. This will solve the first half. And to fully complete exercise, add an else statement. And this time we print press up or down key to move. Save and let's run the game. Now no button is pressed. That's why we are receiving lots of messages to press a key. If I press up, we get the correct message, and if I press down, we also get a correct message. Moving to the second task. Let's take a look at how we made our ball move before. In start method, we set velocity of ball's rigid body component. Now we will do very similar thing with our racket. The only difference is that unlike the ball, racket should be controlled by player's input, which means that velocity can change at any moment. So instead of start method, we are going to put our code in the update. Using first exercise as foundation, let's replace print command with velocity change. Racket rigid body dot velocity equals. If player up is pressed, we move racket up, which means that y-axis velocity should be positive. New vector 3, 0 on x, racket speed on y, and 0 on z-axis. As for the player down, we do exactly the same, except this time we set y-axis velocity as negative. And the last case, when no button is pressed, there should be no velocity at all. Let's go to Unity and press play. Now when I'm pressing up, racket goes up, and when I'm pressing down, racket goes down. That is exactly what we need. Let's select another player's racket and remove it. Now take the one which has everything set up already and make a copy of it. Change name to player 1. This time for the player up I will choose W, and for player down I will choose S. Move it to -16 on X and set Y rotation to 0. Press play. Now both rackets can move. If I press W or S, left one is moving, and if I press up or down, the right one is moving. Here comes the problem. If one of the player misses the ball, then it will be gone, and you have to restart the game. Also, no score will be awarded. Let's fix that. How do we know when player has scored? Scoring should happen when ball hits one of the gates. After that, ball should fly off the screen and be destroyed, because we don't want any stray balls in our game. After all that, we should spawn a new ball for us to play with. We can't put all this code to our ball script, because if we destroy the ball, then script will be destroyed as well. So we need an always working script, which will spawn the ball, track the score, and destroy the ball when it scores. For this purpose, let's create a dedicated game manager. Make a new empty game object. Reset its transform and call it game manager. Now remember when we were dealing with Hello World, we created a game manager script. So it's time to use it. For that, select our game manager object and drag our game manager script to it. We are not going to use this Hello World print command anymore. So first let's solve the issue of no ball to play with. To spawn a ball, our game manager needs to know what game object represents a ball. For that, let's create public variable. At the top of our script, type public game object ball. Back in the editor, we could simply drag our ball game object to the game manager script. However, if we do not want scene to have ball from the start, then we should create a prefab. And this prefab will be picked by game manager from the project and not from the scene. Why this is important? Well, imagine you have 20 different kinds of balls. For example, red or green or made out of stone or metal. And player can choose any one before the game starts. Keeping them all in the scene could work, but what if later you decide to add more levels? Does it mean that each level will have to store 20 balls? And what if later you add 5 more? You will have to update all of your levels. This can turn into maintenance disaster very fast, so it's much more flexible to store prefabs in the project and use them when required. Let's make a ball prefab. In our project browser, under Assets, create a new folder called Prefabs. Open it, now select our ball and simply drag it to the Prefabs folder. That's it! Now you have a ball prefab. And prefabs are super useful and convenient. Let's bring more ball stories in. Now you can see that ball speed of each is 5. If I edit this value and press revert, then value will be reverted to the one defined by main prefab in the project. With power of prefabs, I can have different speeds on each of my ball and still edit some other values. For example, I can make them all bigger. There is also a convenient way to change values directly on the prefab. For this, select Prefab in Project window and set ball speed to 10. Now, important note, prefab changes are saved on the project level, so to keep them, go to File menu and choose Save Project. Now, as a quick exercise, make a prefab out of Player 1 racket. After that, replace Player 2 racket with the prefab which you made just now. You will have to reassign input keys. And I will see you in the part 2.